What the actual... job? Hello and welcome back to What the Actual Job, where I interview people about their jobs so that high school students can get a better understanding of jobs they'd like to pursue in the future. This week, I had a great conversation with Laura Boudreau, a nurse from the Ottawa Hospital.
So my name is Laura Boudreau, and my current position is I'm a registered nurse at the Ottawa Hospital, and I currently work for a consult service for the substance use program. So we work with people who use substances while they're admitted to hospital. So it's a very small service. We're the only hospital in Ottawa that has this service.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, as I said, it's really tiny and niche, but it's a growing field of addiction medicine, and it's super important, and more and more people are realizing the need for people who are specialized in addiction medicine. So
how did you find that position or that niche?
Yeah, so I did my school at UBC, so in Vancouver. It's very common to have a lot of education and background in that area in Vancouver. I ended up going into doing emergency nursing for a long time. You come across patients who are using substances in emergency all the time. And so then when I heard that there was a program here at the Ottawa Hospital, I was like, that's for me. And I've always kind of had a passion for working with people with a mental health and addictions kind of lens.
That's amazing. Then what does a typical day look like for you?
In my current role, I work Monday to Friday, about 7 in the morning until 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon. So I work 8-hour shifts, but this isn't typical for many nursing positions. So how our service works is that physicians or other people in the hospital will consult our team. Someone will be admitted for a broken leg, and they'll notice, this person uses or has used substances in the past. Let's get this special team involved. And so they send us a consult. That's how we get involved. I just kind of review what's happened overnight or what's happened on the weekend. I'll read the patient charts. So I'm the nurse on the team, and then there's a physician on the team every week as well. And we kind of get together and we triage patients. And I bounce around all over the hospital and see my list of patients, and then reconnect with the physician if there needs to be medication orders, or just let them know what I found. Then I spend usually the next few hours kind of writing up notes, making recommendations, and then just being available. We do a lot of education for both the patient and the other teams, just because there might be a knowledge gap about substance use and addiction medicine and things like that. But our team's goal is to keep people comfortable while they're here in hospital, and so that they're more likely to stay in hospital and get the treatment that they leave, and also just to keep them safe and then give resources for when they're going to eventually leave.
I love the education piece.
So a lot of our job is education, both with the patient, but also building capacity in the hospital.
What do you like most about your job, and what makes you want to come to work every day?
I think that what I like is I know that I'm making a little bit of a difference in this person's life, not only today in the moment, making them more comfortable, but hopefully going forward, I've been able to give them some resources or support. And I also like knowing in my small way that I'm creating systemic change. It's not just about the individual, that it's actually about changing culture at the hospital and eventually changing culture in Ottawa. And it's such a stigmatized kind of area of addiction medicine that just knowing that our service exists is what keeps me going. It's unique. I like feeling like I'm doing something a little bit different than a lot of other people are.
That's a very lovely answer. What is the hardest part about being a nurse?
For me, the hardest part is working in a system that's inequitable and that often faces financial barriers and challenges, and yet you have to do the best you can, which is sometimes really morally distressing. For example, if there's not enough low-income housing in the city, then we're often discharging patients to shelters, and that just doesn't feel good. If there's just not enough funding for a great level of staffing, then you just don't have the time to sit with your patients and really have a chat with them and get to know them, wishing that you could do more as an individual. I think that for me is the hardest part.
I never thought of that angle of income and feeling like you want to help the patient more.
So there's something that you learn in school called the social determinants of health. That's things like income, housing, education level. All those things really do impact your health. There's very much a push in North American society, kind of put Band-Aid solutions on it, but the problems, and you see it a lot in my area of addiction medicine, that it's actually bigger than that.
What is the most valuable or significant thing you've learned from your career so far?
I think that I keep on coming back to the fact that at the end of the day, we're all people and that we all need that help sometimes. No matter whether you're a high CEO or you're someone with no fixed address and everyone in between, we all need help from others sometimes. And that little bit of caring and patience goes a long way, a big difference in someone's life. The other thing that I've learned is the importance of teamwork, understanding that you can't be everything for everyone and that you have to work as a team for the best possible care for the patient.
So what education did you do to become a nurse?
So I thought this was a great question because I didn't do grade 12 math. I didn't do grade 12 chemistry. I was not great at those subjects, but I really excelled at the other things, non-sciencey, non-mathy. And I remember thinking I'd love to do nursing, but that's just too much for me, right? So I actually went and did a degree in political science at Carleton. I actually think that degree has really, really helped later on. I then was volunteering for the Ottawa Distress Center, and I was like, oh, I love this work. And so I went and did my anatomy and physiology courses, reapplied for nursing school, but then I ended up going back and doing my specialty in emergency nursing. I recently went back and did my master's in nursing.
Oh, amazing.
That's a testament to if you have an idea, just you can get there. You just might have to kind of wiggle through, but it gives me a different perspective.
Do you think having a background in a different field other than nursing would be beneficial for other nurses?
I think so, for sure. I think that there's two sides to the coin. If you know you want to do nursing and that's you're right out of school, you're this is what I'm doing, great. There's amazing nurses that have done that. But I think that there's something to be said about having that kind of unique, different experience in your knowledge and your understanding and how you see the health system. And that's what makes that teamwork thing that I was talking about earlier that much better, right? Everyone has their kind of unique views that they can come into. So not better, but just both are good paths and you're just going to get to it.
That's great. That's a really cool background. Is your career what you thought it would be when you started? And are there any expectations that turned out different from reality?
I didn't think I was going to be an emergency nurse.
Oh.
So I kind of always thought I was going to do addiction medicine or mental health and go in that direction. But I'm happy with the path that I took. And I am actually surprised by how much I love that hard science.
Yeah.
Nursing now, because I wouldn't have told you that 15 years ago. And I like that balance now of understanding the social determinants of health and also the hard science stuff. And I wouldn't have told you that's the direction I was going.
That's interesting. The switch of what you thought you would when you were younger.
You fall into something, right? And you're try this out for a little while, and that's kind of the good part of nursing. There's so many different paths that you can take.
That's great. How do you make a memorable impact?
I think that I try to make a memorable impact by really building on connection. So really trying to understand the person as not just their broken leg, but you're a family member, you have lived experience, you have, traumas and joys, and you have a unique history that makes you you. And I think that in, the busy hustle and bustle, especially in a hospital, I try really, really hard to focus on that and to make the patient feel seen in a different way or heard or kind of understood, so that they feel more supportive and important and their value more than just whatever brought them into hospital.
I can imagine that being very important to the patients, even if it's only a few seconds to do that. I can imagine.
You do what you can, right? It's definitely busy, but do what you can. I think that connection is the piece.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And then, in your opinion, what makes an excellent nurse, and what advice would you give someone wanting to become a nurse?
I think, like we were talking about before, I think like an excellent nurse is really hard because there's so many different types of people that make an excellent nurse, right? But for me, I think that your drive to do nursing has to come from a place of like caring and compassion.
Yeah.
Like if you're just doing it for the paycheck, you're
Yeah.
not going to be happy in the long run, right? So like I think that like leaning into what your unique gifts are and like seeing how you are as a person can contribute to the care of another person is what makes an excellent nurse. You can, like anyone can memorize the anatomy and physiology in the textbook and all of that stuff, but you have to be coming at it from a certain like lens of just like wanting to help and wanting to do right for that patient or right for that system or right for that hospital. I think that's what makes an excellent nurse, is doing that above and beyond part as much as you can. And then what was the second question? Like what would I say to a new nurse?
Yeah, like someone
considering nursing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've already kind of spoken about it a bit, but I think what I would say is that like nursing can be so many different paths, right? Like you're going to find your niche and like you will be an amazing dialysis nurse, or you can write policy for the government in the healthcare sector, or you can be a transplant flight nurse, or you can do mental health, or there's so many different paths. And so like really thinking about who you are and like what you love to do, you can find somewhere where you're going to excel at that. There's people who do informatic nursing, so they do all the computer technology and all of that stuff from a healthcare lens.
That's interesting.
There's like niches for everyone, and being like open to like exploring all those niches and then not being afraid to pivot once you're there, right? Yeah. That's would be my suggestion. Just going for it, just trying. Yeah.
That's really cool. I did not know half the niches you stated. Like that's really interesting.
Yeah, there's like public health nursing. There's nurses who focus on domestic violence and sexual health, and there's so many different options that your career can be endless depending on where you want to go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then we have a few questions from students, and the first one is, what made you choose nursing over other careers in healthcare?
So I actually for a while thought I was going to do social work.
Oh.
And then as you might have like kind of seen, that's kind of my like lens that I come into. And I still love that aspect of my job. I think that what really attracted me to nursing was that I kind of had an idea by the time I was done my political science degree that nursing can go in so many different ways. And so I knew that if I picked nursing, that it would just like open up my like possibilities for my careers as opposed to like close it down. And so I would say that's why, like we mentioned when we were talking before we started recording, that like a really cool job is like respiratory therapist.
Yeah.
And like I didn't know that those existed until I was in nursing school. And they're super cool. They can work in the community, they can work in the hospital, but they are a little bit more they're very niche, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what they do, and less. Like nursing has so much diversity, so that's what attracted me to nursing. I guess there's always something.
That's great. And then, are there any holidays or time of year that are the busiest for nursing?
That's kind of a tricky question because like it depends what area you're working.
Oh.
So I would say generally no.
Okay.
And I think that for the most part. But like we always said, like emergency right after the holidays, each holiday was always a busier period in emergency because there'd be like family who would go to visit their loved ones who hadn't seen them in a little while, realized they weren't doing so well, and so brought them into emergency.
Interesting.
Right? And so we always had like a bump after the holidays of people like clicking in that like, hey, maybe you need to get some more healthcare. But other than that, I would say generally it's pretty evenly distributed. It's always busy. There's no, at least in the hospital, there's no like quiet time of year, I would say. It's just busy all the time.
What about time of day? Is just all day, all busy?
Like, again, I'll speak for what I know, which is like most people come in through emergency, and so I would say like, yeah, like you're it's definitely busier during the day than in the middle of the night, but people's wait times are so long that often are here for 12 hours, and so it's like, again, just kind of busy all the time as opposed to a particular time of day. I think that like when half your patients are asleep, night shift can be kind of nice sometimes because maybe you've got some people who are asleep, but in general, there's always something to do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then last question is, as a nurse, do you find it difficult to watch medical shows like Grey's Anatomy?
I read this question also. I thought it was pretty cool. So, yes and no. I think that for the most part, it's like any dramatized. Like television, that it's like not 100% accurate. And so sometimes you're just kind of like, oh God. There's neurosurgeons like getting patients out of bed, and I'm like, a nurse would be doing that. Like, there's no neurosurgeon who's like mobilizing their patient out of bed. Like, they've got other things to do, like surgery. Right? So like some of that is quite inaccurate. And then there's been times also in my career that like if I went through something really traumatic like in my daily work, that I just was like, I don't want to like, watch that again.
That is fair.
Right? Like I just like, this is not relaxing for me because I like, even though it's really hyped up on TV, I'm like, no, I actually just lived that in real life. It was fun. So I don't want to like watch this again, right? Like it's just stressful for people to watch. I would say for the most part, from my experience, especially like emergency nurses don't watch a lot of those medical shows because they want to like disconnect. Like when they're away from the hospital, they're doing other things that have nothing to do with being at work, right? Like they're trying to like take care of themselves, and like they're watching the Kardashians. You know, like they're just like totally, I don't want to like be anywhere near a hospital right now because I need to disconnect. So
that's fair.
I would say, like that would be my answer for sure.
Do you have any last comments or anything?
I know. Well, I think what you're doing is great. I think
Thank you.
I think that it's like you never know really where you're gonna end up. So like just trying things out and like doing job shadowing and like talking to people who are in the career that you think you might want to go in, and like I guess I can only speak for nursing, but like if you're like, I really want to be a pediatrics nurse, but I only know an emergency nurse, I bet you that emergency nurse knows someone who works in pediatrics, right? So like just like get out there and try it out. There's not really, it's a great career.
Thank you again to Laura Boudreau for that great conversation about a career in nursing. If you want to listen to this episode or others like it, you can listen here on CKCU 93.1 FM or wherever you listen to podcasts.